All right, in this lesson we're going to be looking at just writing some equations that would help us solve a system if we're given a word problem. So if we read this one, it says accelerated math uses a lot of paper. In one day, my printer printed 474 copies. There were 86 more one-sided copies than two-sided copies. Let x equal the number of one-sided copies. So I'm actually going to write this. X equals one-sided. And let y equal the number of two-sided copies. So what I want to do, let's see, which system of equations could be used to find the number of each type of copy that was made? So you've got two different numbers here to work with and two different variables, and you're going to make two different equations. Okay, so here's what's happening. It says in one day my printer printed 474 copies. It doesn't say whether they were single-sided copies, double-sided copies. All I know is between the single-sided and double-sided copies, I had a total of 474 copies. So my single copies are X and my two-sided copies are Y. And when I put the single-sided and two-sided together, I have 474 total copies. Okay? Then I'm going to go over here. There were 86 more one-sided copies than two-sided copies. People get this wrong all the time. There's 86 more one-sided copies than two-sided copies. Okay? What that means is that in order to equal the bigger amount, you have to add 86 to the smaller amount. Okay? So, since there is more one-sided copies, the number of one-sided copies, which there are more of, will be the number of two-sided copies plus 86. Okay? If you take the smaller number and add 86 to it, you should get the bigger number. And in this case, there are more one-sided copies, so that's the bigger number, less two-sided copies, so if I add the smaller two-sided copies plus 86, I'll get the bigger, which is the one-sided copies. Here's my system of equations. I could go through and solve those to figure out how many of each I have, but I am not going to do that. If you are curious and want practice and want to try it, I will just tell you that your solution is 280 and 194 if you want to practice, okay? All right, here we go. The number of full-time employees at Hutchinson High School is 5 more than 3 times the number of part-time employees. Our school has 146 employees in all. So X is full-time and Y is part-time. Okay? And you need to write a system. So here's the easiest maybe thing to start with. 146 employees in all. That's a combination of full-time employees and part-time employees. So the full-time, which is X, plus the part-time, which is Y, put together makes 146 employees. Okay, then that top sentence, the number of full-time employees, so full-time employees is X, is 5 more than 3 times the part-time. So 3 times the part-time would be 3Y, and it's 5 more than that. Okay, so this would be your system of equations. I am not going to solve this. If I were to solve it, it would be easiest to solve using substitution because you already have it solved for X. So I would circle it. I would plug it in right there. I am not going to take the time to solve it, but if I were, that's probably what I would do.